Bente Scheller is the Middle East Office Director of the Heinrich Boll Foundation think tank in Beirut, and she joins me live from Bremen in Germany. Welcome to the programme. Russia was pretty much slammed last night. Unanimous condemnation. Is this going to result into any real action against Russia by the UNSC?
Well, I doubt it, because so far we have never seen this. It has always been clear. On the one hand, Russia is part of the UN Security Council. Everybody talks about the need to have Russia involved, but whatever has been negotiated about, Russia has continued the strategy of supporting the Assad regime passively and actively in trying to settle the conflict militarily. So I doubt that the last night's expressions at the UN will lead to any action.
In its defence, Russia brought up the point that the US needs to separate extremist groups from the moderates. Is this a fair comment? And can anything be done practically in terms of what's happening on the ground?
Well, we have heard this demand before, but if you just look at the map, how should they do this geographically? How should they move apart from each other? I think this might not be the priority right now. If we put this on the priority list, it will not really be possible to settle the conflict. And the idea was that first there should be a cessation of hostilities to give everybody a breathing space and to allow for finding a solution. And this has not been held. So I think we should go back to asking for a cessation of hostilities and not targeting anyone in this period, and then try to figure out how to solve the problem.
How are we able, though, to go back to a cessation of hostilities when there's no joined-up thinking, there's no unanimous decisions on how we move forward? Do we need to change the people at the top? Should Staffan de Mistura resign?
Well, I think he has such a difficult job, and he has been doing it tremendously well. It is, of course, evident that he has not achieved anything, but it's not in his hands if the powers of the Security Council do not give him the right support. And here, really, we see very different interests of Russia and the United States, and therefore it has not been possible for him to do a better job. But I think if he resigns, it might be very difficult to find a successor, so we should not even speculate about that. We should rather think, how do we make this process a real process and not just a substitute for action to hold these talks?
Is there hope for peace at all, do you think? I mean, we've seen aid starting to be delivered in 4 besieged areas, reaching 60,000 people, but this has been going on for 5 years.
The conflict, in fact, has been going on for 5 years, and we've seen it every year worse. Those 4 areas, I mean, 2 of them are not actually besieged. The regime keeps them on the list because there is an agreement. If 2 besieged areas get something, these 2 regime-controlled areas get something as well. So it is a bit exaggerated to claim that this number of besieged people get aid. And also with the convoys, we have not yet seen whether people will live to really get what is in the convoys. In previous convoys, especially in Muadamiyah and especially in Daraya, we've seen the convoys reach, and this is the signal for the regime to start a large bombardment, and people are unable to get whatever is being distributed. So we should not be too optimistic.
OK, Bente Scheller, thank you so much for joining us here on TRT World.